The elevator doesn't stop on the 52nd floor unless you have the code. That's the first thing Isla Brennan learns when she starts working for Thaddeus Ashcroft. The second thing she learns is that he doesn't want to know her name. He'll call her the Nanny when he speaks to his assistant. He'll refer to her as the help when he's on the phone with business associates. And when she's standing right in front of him, holding his 4-year-old son by the hand, he'll look straight through her like she's made of air. Isla needs this job. She needs it more than she's ever needed anything in her 32 years of life. So when Thaddeus Ashcroft looks at her on her first day and says, "I pay you to be invisible. Do your job and stay out of my sight," she nods. She swallows the anger rising in her throat. And she becomes exactly what he wants. A shadow. But what Thaddeus doesn't know is that Isla's 14-year-old daughter, Poet, is watching. And Poet has never been good at staying quiet. Welcome to Rich Heart Stories, please. Before we dive into the story in full, kindly like and subscribe to this channel, and don't forget to comment your country below and time you are seeing this video. Thanks. Now let's continue. Thaddeus Ashcroft owns half of Lower Manhattan. That's not an exaggeration. His real estate empire stretches across 18 city blocks, from luxury condos to commercial towers that pierce the sky like steel needles. He built his fortune buying distressed properties during the recession and flipping them into billion-dollar assets. Now, at 43, he's worth $12 billion, and he's never once had to answer to anyone. His penthouse sits at the top of the Ashcroft Tower, a glass monument to his success. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the city. The furniture is Italian. The art on the walls cost more than most people's homes. Everything is pristine. Everything is controlled. Everything is exactly how Thaddeus wants it. Except for his son. Oliver is 4 years old, small for his age, with wide brown eyes that always look a little confused. His mother left when he was 6 months old. Thaddeus doesn't talk about her, doesn't keep photos, doesn't mention her name. Oliver's nannies cycle through every few months because Thaddeus fires them the moment they show any sign of attachment to the boy. He doesn't want Oliver bonding with temporary people. He doesn't want mess. He doesn't want emotion cluttering up his perfectly curated life. When Isla arrives through the private elevator on a cold Monday morning in October, she finds Oliver sitting alone in the playroom, surrounded by hundreds of expensive toys he doesn't touch. The boy looks up at her with those wide eyes and doesn't say a word. "Hi, Oliver," Isla says softly, kneeling down to his level. "My name is Isla. I'm going to be spending time with you." Oliver stares at her. Then he looks away. Isla's heart cracks a little, but she doesn't push. She just sits down on the floor next to him and waits. That's how Thaddeus finds them 20 minutes later when he storms into the playroom, still on his phone, barking orders at someone on the other end. He glances at Isla, at Oliver, then waves a hand dismissively. "I have a meeting in an hour," he says, not bothering to cover the phone. "Keep him quiet." I don't want to hear him." Isla stands, brushing off her jeans. "Mr. Ashcroft, I was hoping we could discuss Oliver's routine." "No." Thaddeus's voice is flat, final. "You don't need to discuss anything with me. You need to do your job. My assistant will send you the schedule. Follow it. That's all I need from you." He turns to leave, but Isla takes a step forward. "With respect, sir, I think it would help if I understood a bit more about Oliver's needs." Thaddeus stops, turns. His eyes are the color of winter steel, and when he looks at Isla, there's no warmth in them, no humanity. Just cold, efficient assessment. "Let me make something very clear," he says slowly. "I pay you to be invisible. I don't pay you to think. I don't pay you to have opinions. I pay you to care for my son, quietly, and efficiently. And when I walk into a room, I should not have to acknowledge your existence. Do you understand? Isla's jaw tightens. She wants to tell him what she really thinks. She wants to tell him that his son is lonely, that he needs more than just a schedule, that he's turning into a ghost in his own home, but she needs this job, she needs the money, so she nods. I understand. Good. Thaddeus walks away without another word. What he doesn't see is the girl standing in the hallway just beyond the playroom door. Poet Brennan is 14, tall and thin, with her mother's dark hair and a sharp, intelligent face that misses nothing. She wasn't supposed to be there. Isla's babysitter cancelled last minute, and she had no choice but to bring Poet along, hiding her in the small staff room near the service elevator. But Poet doesn't stay hidden. She stands in the hallway, her fists clenched at her sides, and watches the billionaire walk away from her mother like she's trash, like she's nothing. And something cold and hard settles in Poet's chest. Isla falls into the routine quickly. She wakes up at 5 in the morning, takes 2 buses and a subway to reach the Ashcroft Tower, and arrives by 6:30. She makes Oliver breakfast. She plays with him. She reads to him. She tries, slowly and patiently, to coax words out of the silent little boy who barely speaks. Thaddeus is rarely there. He leaves before Isla arrives and comes home after Oliver is asleep. When he does appear, he moves through the penthouse like a shark, efficient and cold, barely glancing at his son. He never asks how Oliver's day was, never sits down to play with him, never tucks him in at night. Isla tries not to judge. She tells herself that some people just aren't built for parenthood, that Thaddeus is providing for his son in the only way he knows how. But watching Oliver sit by the window every evening, waiting for a father who never comes, makes her chest ache. Poet sees it too. She's been sneaking into the penthouse twice a week when Isla can't find childcare. She stays hidden in the staff quarters doing her homework, reading books from the library, watching, always watching. One afternoon, while Isla is in the kitchen preparing Oliver's lunch, Poet slips into the playroom. Oliver is sitting on the floor again, staring at nothing. Poet sits down next to him. "Hey," she says quietly. Oliver looks at her, startled. "I'm Poet," she continues. "My mum is the one who makes your lunch. You like the dinosaur sandwiches, right?" Oliver nods, just barely. Poet smiles. "Cool. Dinosaurs are awesome. You know what's even more awesome? You." Oliver blinks. No one has ever said that to him before. "You want to build something with me?" Poet asks, reaching for a set of blocks Oliver's never touched. "We can build a castle or a spaceship, whatever you want." For the first time in weeks, Oliver smiles. It's small, fragile, but it's there. They spend the next hour building together, and when Isla walks in and sees her daughter sitting with the lonely little boy, tears prick her eyes. She doesn't say anything. She just watches, her heart full and breaking at the same time. But then Thaddeus comes home. It's a Thursday evening. Thaddeus wasn't supposed to be back until 10, but a meeting got cancelled, and he walks through the door at 7, still in his suit, tie loosened, an irritation carved into every line of his face. He hears laughter. It stops him cold. He hasn't heard that sound in his home in years. He follows it to the playroom and finds Oliver on the floor, giggling, while a teenage girl builds a ridiculous tower of blocks that's about to collapse. "Who the hell are you?" Poet looks up. Isla rushes in from the kitchen, face pale. "Mr. Ashcroft, I can explain—" I asked her. Thaddeus points at Poet. "Who are you and why are you in my home?" Poet stands slowly. She's tall for 14, almost eye level with him. "I'm Poet. Isla's daughter. Thaddeus's jaw tightens. He turns to Isla. You brought your child into my home? My sitter cancelled, Isla says quickly. I had no other option. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. You're right, it won't. Thaddeus pulls out his phone. Oh, because you're fired? No. Everyone freezes. The word came from Oliver. The little boy is standing now, hands balled into fists, his face red. Thaddeus stares at his son in shock. What did you say? No, Oliver repeats, louder this time. You can't fire Isla, you can't. Oliver, go to your room. No. Tears stream down Oliver's face now. You're always mean. You're mean to Isla, and you're mean to me, and you don't even care. Isla cares, Poet cares, but you don't care about anything. Thaddeus's face goes white. For a long, terrible moment, the room is silent. Then Thaddeus looks at Isla, and there's something dangerous in his eyes. Get out, he says quietly. Both of you, now. Poet grabs her mother's hand. Come on, Mom, let's go. But Isla doesn't move. She looks at Oliver, then at Thaddeus, and something shifts in her expression. The fear drains away, replaced by something harder. You know what's sad? Isla says, her voice steady. Your son just spoke more words in 30 seconds than he's spoken in the entire month I've been here. And it wasn't because of me. It was because he finally got angry enough to break through the silence you've built around him. Get out. Isla nods. She takes Poet's hand. But before they leave, she turns back one last time. I was invisible to you, but your son sees me. And that's the difference between us. I see him too. They leave. The elevator doors close, and Thaddeus Ashcroft is left standing in his multi-million-dollar penthouse, alone with the son who won't look at him, feeling something he hasn't felt in over a decade. Shame. Thaddeus hires a new nanny the next day, and her name is Margaret. She's 60 years old, and she's worked for wealthy families for 30 years. She's professional, efficient, invisible. Oliver hates her. He stops eating, stops playing, stops speaking entirely. Margaret follows the schedule to the letter, but the boy is fading in front of Thaddeus's eyes, and for the first time in his life, Thaddeus Ashcroft doesn't know what to do. He tries ignoring it. He throws himself into work, closes a $15 billion deal, expands his empire into 3 new cities. But when he comes home at night and walks past Oliver's room, he hears silence. And that silence is louder than anything he's ever known. 3 weeks after Isla left, Thaddeus's assistant mentioned something in passing. Sir, there's a discrepancy in the building's power grid. Our engineering says one of the backup generators keeps tripping. They can't figure out why. Thaddeus barely listens. Handle it. They've been trying, sir. They're recommending we hire an external consultant, someone who specializes in older electrical systems. Fine, just fix it. But the problem doesn't get fixed. 2 days later, during a dinner meeting with investors on the 52nd floor, the lights go out. Not just in the penthouse, the entire building goes dark. Emergency lighting kicks in after 30 seconds, but the damage is done. The investors are rattled. Thaddeus is furious. He storms down to the engineering room in the basement, demanding answers. We don't know, Mr. Ashcroft, the lead engineer says, sweating. The generator should work. It's brand new. But something keeps interfering with the relay switch. Then replace the relay switch. We did. 3 times. It's not the equipment, it's something else. Thaddeus is about to explode when his phone buzzes. It's his assistant. Sir, there's a girl here to see you. She says she can fix the generator. What? A teenage girl. She's in the lobby. Security won't let her up, but she's insisting she knows what's wrong. Thaddeus's blood goes cold. What's her name? Poet Brennan. Thaddeus rides the elevator down to the lobby, his mind racing. When the doors open, he sees her immediately. Poet is standing near the security desk, arms crossed, looking annoyed but determined. You, Thaddeus says, striding toward her. How did you even know about the generator? I've been watching the building for 3 weeks, Poet says simply. I noticed the lights flickering. I did some research. Your backup system is failing because the transfer relay is corroded. You need someone who actually knows how to work with old infrastructure to fix it properly. Thaddeus stares at her. You're 14. I'm also right. How could you possibly know that? My grandfather was a master electrician. He worked on buildings like this one for 40 years. He taught me everything before he died. Poet steps closer. You want to keep losing power in front of investors? Or do you want to fix the problem? Thaddeus hesitates. Every instinct tells him to send her away. But he looks at her eyes, sharp and confident, and realizes she's not bluffing. Fine, he says. You have 10 minutes. Poet smirks. I only need 5. They ride the elevator down to the sub-basement. When the engineering team watches in disbelief as this teenage girl walks straight to the backup generator, opens the relay panel, and pulls out a corroded connector they'd all missed. Here's your problem, she says, holding it up. This connector was installed wrong. It's been shorting every time the generator tries to switch over. Replace it with a weatherproof connector and recalibrate the voltage regulator. Should hold for another 20 years. The lead engineer stares. How did you... I told you, my grandfather taught me. Poet hands the corroded part to Thaddeus. You hire expensive people who know theory, but theory doesn't fix broken things. Experience does. She starts to walk away, but Thaddeus calls after her. Wait. Poet turns. Why did you come here? Thaddeus asks. You don't owe me anything. I fired your mother. I didn't come for you, Poet says quietly. I came because Oliver deserves better than a dad who doesn't see what's right in front of him. My mum saw him. I saw him, but you didn't. And maybe that makes you invisible too. She walks away, leaving Thaddeus standing in the basement, holding a piece of corroded metal, feeling the weight of her words like a stone in his chest. Thaddeus doesn't sleep that night. He sits in his study, staring at the city lights, thinking about everything Poet said, thinking about Isla, thinking about Oliver, silent and fading in his room down the hall. The next morning, he makes a decision. He fires Margaret. Then he picks up his phone and calls the number his assistant had on file for Isla Brennan. She doesn't answer. He tries again and again. Finally, on the 4th call, she picks up. What do you want? Her voice is cold. I want to apologize. Silence. I want you to come back, Thaddeus continues. You and Poet, I want to pay you what you're actually worth. I want... His voice cracks and he hates himself for it. I want to do better for Oliver. He needs you. And I think I need to learn how to see him the way you do. More silence. Then, why should I believe you? Because you were right, Thaddeus says quietly. I made my son invisible. I made you invisible. I built an empire, but I forgot how to be a human being. And I don't want to be that person anymore. Isla doesn't respond for a long time. When she finally speaks, her voice is softer. I'll come back, but not for you, for Oliver. I know. And you're going to do exactly what I say when it comes to that boy. No arguments. No dismissing me. You're going to listen. I will. And one more thing. Anything. You're going to pay for Poet's education, all of it, high school, college, everything, because that girl is brilliant, and she deserves a future that isn't limited by money. Thaddeus closes his eyes. Done. Then I'll see you Monday. She hangs up. Thaddeus sits in the silence of his penthouse and for the first time in years feels something like hope. Isla returns the following Monday. Oliver sees her walk through the door and runs to her, wrapping his small arms around her waist, sobbing. She holds him, and Thaddeus watches from the hallway, seeing his son's pain for the first time. Poet comes twice a week after school. She plays with Oliver, teaches him things, makes him laugh. And slowly, the silent little boy begins to find his voice again. Thaddeus starts coming home earlier. At first, he doesn't know what to do with himself. He stands awkwardly in doorways, watching Isla and Poet interact with Oliver, feeling like a stranger in his own home. But Isla doesn't let him hide. "Sit down," she says one evening, pointing to the floor of the playroom. "Play with your son." Thaddeus hesitates. "I don't know how." "Then learn." So he sits. He picks up blocks. He builds a crooked tower that Oliver knocks down with a delighted giggle. And for the first time since his son was born, Thaddeus Ashcroft plays. It's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but it's real. Over the next 3 months, something shifts. Thaddeus starts asking Isla questions about Oliver's day. He starts reading to his son before bed. He starts noticing things, the way Oliver's face lights up when he talks about dinosaurs, the way he hums when he's happy, the way he reaches for Thaddeus's hand now without fear. Poet notices too. One afternoon, while Isla is cooking and Oliver is napping, Poet finds Thaddeus in his study. "You're different," she says bluntly. Thaddeus looks up from his laptop. "Is that a compliment?" "It's an observation." Poet sits down across from him. "You were a terrible person when we met. You treated my mum like she didn't exist. But now you actually see her. You see Oliver. So, yeah, you're different." Thaddeus sets his laptop aside. "Your mother and you taught me something I'd forgotten." "What?" "That wealth without humanity is just an empty room." He pauses. "I spent so long building my empire that I forgot to build a life. I forgot that people aren't functions, they're people. But when the people I refused to see were the ones holding my world together." Poet nods slowly. "My mom always says that invisible people see the most because no one's watching them." She's right. Thaddeus leans forward. "Poet, I owe you an apology. You saved my building, you saved my business, and I didn't even thank you." "I didn't do it for thanks. I know, you did it for Oliver, but still." He pulls an envelope from his desk drawer. "I want you to have this." Poet opens it. Inside is a check for $50,000. Her eyes widen. "I can't." "You can, you will." Thaddeus's voice is firm. "That money is for your education. It's a start. There will be more, as much as you need, because you're brilliant, Poet, and I want to make sure you have every opportunity to become whoever you want to be." Poet stares at the check, then at Thaddeus. For the first time since they met, she smiles. "Thank you." "No," Thaddeus says quietly. "Thank you. You and your mother gave me something I didn't deserve, a second chance." 2 years later, Oliver is 6 years old, talkative and happy. He runs through the penthouse with a confidence that wasn't there before. Isla is still his nanny, but she's also become something more, a steady, caring presence in a home that used to feel like a museum. Poet is 16 now, enrolled in a prestigious private school, on a full scholarship funded by Thaddeus. She visits every week and Oliver adores her. Thaddeus has started teaching her about real estate, investing, business. He sees something in her that reminds him of himself, but better, kinder, smarter. One Saturday evening, Thaddeus, Isla, Oliver, and Poet are sitting together in the living room. Oliver is showing Poet a drawing he made at school. Isla is reading. Thaddeus is watching them, a strange warmth in his chest. "I never thanked you properly," he says suddenly. Isla looks up. For what? For not giving up on me, for coming back, for teaching me how to be a father. Isla smiles softly. You taught yourself, Thaddeus. I just pointed you in the right direction. No. Thaddeus shakes his head. You did more than that. You and Poet showed me something I'd spent my entire life running from. You showed me that the people I dismissed as invisible were the ones who saw me most clearly. That wealth without connection is just loneliness, dressed up in expensive clothes. Poet glances at him. You're getting philosophical in your old age. Thaddeus laughs. Maybe I'm just finally learning what actually matters. Oliver climbs into his father's lap, something he does easily now without hesitation. Thaddeus wraps his arms around his son and closes his eyes, feeling the solid weight of him, the warmth. I was so afraid of being vulnerable, Thaddeus says quietly. So afraid of letting people matter. I thought if I kept everyone at a distance, I could control everything, but all I did was build a prison. And now? Isla asks. Now I'm free. He looks at her, then at Poet. Because of you. Poet shrugs, but there's a softness in her eyes. You did the work. We just reminded you that you're human. That's more than enough. They sit together in comfortable silence as the city lights flicker beyond the windows. And for the first time in his life, Thaddeus Ashcroft understands that the most valuable thing he owns isn't a building or a bank account or an empire. It's these people, this moment. Because wealth without people is nothing. Power without connection is meaningless. And being invisible isn't about being unseen, it's about being forgotten. And Thaddeus will never forget again. 5 years pass. Poet is 21 now, graduating from MIT with a degree in electrical engineering and a minor in business. She's brilliant, confident, unstoppable. Thaddeus has watched her grow, supported her every step, and he's never been prouder of someone who isn't his own blood. Oliver is 11, smart and kind. Nothing like the silent, frightened boy he used to be. He talks about Isla like she's family. He talks about Poet like she's his sister. And when people ask him who his father is, and he smiles and says, Thaddeus Ashcroft, he's learning. Isla still works for Thaddeus, but their relationship has shifted. She's no longer just the nanny. She's his advisor, his conscience, the person who keeps him grounded when his old instincts threaten to resurface. One evening, Thaddeus calls Poet into his study. She sits across from him, curious. I have something for you, he says, sliding a folder across the desk. Poet opens it. Inside are legal documents, lots of them. She scans the pages, her eyes widening as she reads. Is this a partnership agreement? Thaddeus finishes. I'm making you a junior partner in Ashcroft Enterprises, 20% equity, full decision-making authority, effective immediately. Poet stares at him. Thaddeus, I just graduated. I don't have experience. You have something better. You have vision. Integrity. Humanity. He leans forward. I built this company on ruthlessness and control, but I want to leave behind something better, something that actually helps people, and I need someone like you to make sure that happens. Why me? Because you saw me when I was invisible, Thaddeus says simply. You saw past the money and the power and the arrogance, and you reminded me that I'm human. That's the kind of leadership this company needs. That's the kind of leadership the world needs. Poet's hands tremble as she holds the documents. I don't know what to say. Say yes. She looks up at him, tears shining in her eyes. Yes, absolutely yes. Thaddeus smiles, and it's genuine, warm, real. Good, because I have big plans for us. And I think we're going to change the world. 10 years after Isla Brennan first walked into Thaddeus Ashcroft's penthouse, the world looks different. Ashcroft Enterprises has shifted its focus from pure profit to social impact. They build affordable housing, they fund education programs, they invest in communities that other developers ignore. And at the helm, working alongside Thaddeus, is poet Brennan, now 31, one of the youngest billionaires in the country. Isla retired 5 years ago, but she still visits every week. Oliver, now 21, is studying social work, determined to help families like his own. And Thaddeus Ashcroft, now 58, sits in his study one quiet Sunday morning, looking at a photo on his desk. It's a picture from Oliver's 6th birthday. In it, Isla, poet, Oliver and Thaddeus are all together. He's smiling. A family. He thinks back to the man he used to be. The man who believed people were functions. Who thought being invisible meant being worthless. He was wrong about everything because the people he tried to erase became the very foundation of everything that mattered. They saved him. They taught him. They loved him when he didn't deserve it. And in the end, they proved that the most powerful thing in the world isn't money or control or empire. It's being seen and seeing others in return. Thaddeus picks up his phone and sends a text to Poet. "Dinner tonight? My place. I'll cook." Her response comes immediately. "You cook now? This I have to see." He laughs, sets the phone down and walks to the window. The city stretches before him, vast and indifferent. But for the first time in his life, Thaddeus Ashcroft doesn't feel small. And he feels whole, because he's no longer invisible, and neither is anyone else. Prepared, using Claude Sonnet 4.5,